Hi everyone, this is Will Bowen, #1 international best-selling author, founder of A Complaint-Free World, and the global authority on complaining. In the last 10 days, I have delivered 4 live trainings at conferences of nearly 1,000 school principals. During breaks and over dinner, I had the opportunity to sit down and speak one-on-one with many of these educators, and as always, I was struck by their sincere dedication, their desire to create an optimal learning environment for kids and an optimal working environment for both teachers and staff. This can be challenging because of ongoing school budget cuts, ever-changing testing standards, and just the everyday struggles of being the lightning rod for anything and everything that happens at the school. But it wasn't these difficulties that I found principals wanting to process with me. No, over and over, the question was the same. How do I deal with an angry, complaining parent, Will? What do I do when someone is in my face yelling at me? Well, that's why I created this video. I want every teacher, every administrator, principal, member of a school staff, everyone who has to ever work with parents to know how to diffuse and, more importantly, win over an angry and complaining parent. So, before you email asking if you can share this video at staff meetings and personal development days, school board meetings, etc., the answer is yes. I'd like all of the many dedicated members of the education community to see this because it will lessen stress and transform raging parents into raving fans. Okay, now you may wonder why I call this winning over angry and complaining parents rather than calming, placating, or even shutting up an angry parent. It's because there's much more to it than that. When that parent walks away from you, statistically, they are either going to tell 5 to 8 people what an unreasonable, unhelpful jerk you are, or they'll tell 12 to 15 people how they came to you with a problem and they left feeling heard, understood, and cared for. Listen, parents are going to talk amongst themselves about you, right? Well, we want them to talk good. And this will give you support for everything you want to implement in the classroom and in the school. When someone complains to you, their anger is an opportunity to turn them from an adversary into an advocate. So let's start with the word anger. If you look up the definition of anger, you'll find that it actually has 2 main meanings. First, the emotion felt when one is facing death. And second, an habitual response in some people. Wow, okay, let's take those one at a time. The emotion felt when one is facing death? That's just silly, right? Well, no, it's not. Consider that psychologists have discovered that nearly all anger comes from feeling rejected. That's right, rejected. So chances are the angry parent in front of you is feeling rejected. Rejected by the system, rejected by the school, perhaps even rejected by you. When a person feels rejected, this not only brings up anger, it can assault the basic primal human need to connect with others. And although we aren't aware of this, this separation literally brings up the fear of death. So, when an angry parent confronts you, you're dealing with a frightened, rejected person. Or at the very least, a person for whom anger is just a habit. Either way, you want to diffuse the situation, but you can't rush into it, and here's why. Telling tension. When a person is going to confront someone, they typically have planned out what they're going to say. Sometimes a parent may just snap and tell you off, but that's not typical. Usually there's minutes, if not hours, of them planning what they're going to say, possibly even days. They may have even lain in bed at night crafting exactly what they want to tell you. They're all wound up in this energy to express their complaint. This means that mom or dad has what's called telling tension. It's a fancy way of saying that they've got the whole conversation planned in their heads and they need to have a chance to say it as they planned. And sometimes what they say isn't only angry, it can be curses or even threats. It's a very, very difficult thing to sit there listening to someone shout at you, especially in front of other people. But this is a chance for you to demonstrate true leadership and real power. The first step is to recognize anger so that you can deal with it effectively. Typically, we get caught up in an argument with someone before we even identify the emotion of anger. And by then, it's too late. You're in danger. Begin to notice when anger shows up. Notice when students, teachers, your staff, or even you are angry. Become sensitive to anger. And when it happens, think of the word danger. You see, danger is just one letter away from anger. And anger is the first sign of danger. When you see anger, train yourself that a warning light goes off in your mind. Danger. During this time, the hardest but best thing you can do is to remain silent when someone is angry with you. But you know, that's what great leaders do. They listen with as little emotion on their face as possible, and they breathe. Breathe deeply. Breathe to calm and center yourself. And more importantly, to give yourself a moment to respond properly. Now, here's where we tend to go wrong. We have habitual ways of trying to resolve angry confrontations. The problem is, they don't work. I'm going to demonstrate both what we tend to do incorrectly, as well as to model for you a 4-step proven process for turning an angry parent into a teammate, into a collaborator. To demonstrate, I'm going to ask my good friend Carol Zook to play the role of the angry parent. Now, Carol is the wife of our videographer, John Gladman. She's actually a very nice person, but I'm going to ask her to play a meanie. Carol, would you come in, please? Hi. Give me a hug. This is my good friend, Carol. Now, Carol, you are a mom.
Yes.
And you've dealt with situations as well. I know we've talked, this is not how you would deal with them. So you're actually, well, you're embellishing, let's say, okay? So you've got a situation. Now, what we tend to do is we tend to say, calm down, or I understand, or I'm sorry, or we try to explain. Well, if someone's upset, trying to calm them down is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Telling them I understand sounds placating or patronizing. I'm sorry is the right thing to say, but if you say it at the wrong time, you're asking for trouble. And don't ever try and explain your situation until you've won the person over. So I'm going to have Carol do her situation, and then I'm going to share each of these. Calm down, I understand, I'm sorry, and explain. And these are the things we do wrong. So Carol, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so I'm standing here in the school. I am the school principal. You've walked up, and I say, hi, Carol.
Hi. My son Jeff was playing with a string on his shirt, I guess distracting another kid, and the teacher kept him after school. He missed the bus. I had to go get him.
Carol, calm down, calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down.
See, doesn't work. She just wants to stay more upset, okay? So the next thing I might say is, I understand. So, Carol, you know, I understand.
How can you possibly understand? I'm just now telling you this. Did you have to leave work and go get your kid?
No, you see? Okay. The next thing we often say is, I'm sorry. Now, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry is the right thing to say, but if we say it in the wrong place and in the wrong context, it's not going to be heard in the way we would like. So, Carol, you know, I am so sorry that happened.
You're darn right you're sorry. The whole school should be sorry.
Didn't work. Okay, so the last thing I might try and do is explain to Carol about this. Well, Carol, you understand that we have to have certain ways of disciplining the children and getting them to follow rules. And so I'm sure that's all the teacher was doing, was trying to work.
I don't care anything about your rules. They don't apply to my situation. It was a ridiculous situation that never should have came to what it came to.
Wow, we didn't bridge any gaps at all, did we? All right,
No.
Carol, thank you so much. Will you come back in just a moment and let's
Absolutely.
show everybody the right way?
Okay.
Thank you very much. So the sad reality is we can often put out our very best efforts into soothing an angry parent, but many times we only make things worse. So here's a simple 4-step process that will let the angry parent feel like they've genuinely been heard, that you care about them and their child. And this is the cool part. They'll commit to working with you to resolve the problem. I'm going to give you a strange, nonsensical, run-on sentence to help you remember the process. When you're taking a shower, driving, having coffee in the morning, anytime, repeat this sentence in your mind. This will make certain you know the flow of the process. Then, and this is crucial, you have to practice the process over and over again. I can't stress this enough. Get an angry parent buddy, a teacher, a staff member, anyone, and rehearse this process at least a couple of times a day. Take turns with one being the parent and the other being the calming educator. You need to practice this skill before you need it. I mean, when someone attacks you on the street, that is not the time to try and remember all the stuff you saw a while back in some video about jujitsu. Any skill, and this is a learned skill, is the result of practice. Then, when an angry parent is getting in your grill and you simply respond, you'll respond as you've been trained, and the situation will vanish. So, are we clear? First, learn the process by repeating the weird sentence. Then, practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? That's right, practice. Now, if you're ready, here's that strange sentence I've been telling you about. It's, thank you because I'm sorry, let's work together. Again, that's, thank you because I'm sorry, let's work together. Repeat it like a mantra. Thank you because I'm sorry, let's work together. Say it over and over as you lie in bed at night. Thank you because I'm sorry, let's work together. Let this simple, strange sentence teach you the flow of this process. Thank you because I'm sorry, let's work together. Now, we'll tie it together. Let's break it down. First of all, thank you. Well, this derails the other person. They have nowhere to go when you say thank you. They're expecting every possible answer from you. They're expecting you to possibly get angry back. They're expecting you to try and explain. They expect you to calm them down, but instead you say thank you. They have nowhere to go. But you can't leave it at that. You can't just say thank you because that sounds patronizing. You need to legitimize the thank you by saying because. Otherwise, the person won't think that you're truly connecting with them. Thank you, because it's important for me to know when a child isn't getting the support they need. Thank you, because I want to know when a parent is unhappy. Thank you, because I'm here to help correct this situation. Thank you, because, and then I'm sorry. You know, Elton John was right. Sorry does seem to be the hardest word. Why? Because when we say I'm sorry, we're afraid the other person will consider our apology to be an admission of guilt. And it's not. Saying, I'm sorry you're upset, or I'm sorry this happened, or I'm sorry we haven't met your expectations, isn't saying it's my fault. It's acknowledging the impact the situation, real or perceived, has had on the other person. Lastly, we say, let's work together. Thank you because I'm sorry. Let's work together. Again, this is the last thing the parent is expecting you to say. They are coming to lay the blame on your doorstep. And if you're like most people, they expect you to get defensive. Instead, you should ask the parent to partner you with you in the situation, asking, what can we do to make this better? Or how can we make this situation, make sure this situation never happens again? Or even, Will you let me know when the situation improves? Anything to engage a commitment from the parent, and then they will begin to work with you rather than against you. Once again, thank you because I'm sorry. Let's work together. Now, here's the real test. Let's see if it works on our angry parent. Carol, come back once again. Let me have it as before if you would.
Okay.
So, hi, Carol.
Hi. My son was playing with a string in class on his shirt. I guess he distracted another kid. So he got held after school. He missed the bus. Then the teacher calls me to come get him. I have to leave work. I mean, it's a ridiculous situation.
Thank you, Carol, for telling me that. Because it's important when I know that something happens here at the school has a negative impact on one of our parents. That's one of the last things we want to have happen. I am so sorry that that happened for you. How might we work together so that this doesn't happen in the future? I'll be happy to sit and go and talk with the teacher. In fact, if you'd like to go with me now, or would you like to talk with Jeff and maybe we can work something out together? Would you be willing to engage with me and work so that this doesn't ever happen again? Because I know it was a hassle for you.
It was, and yes, that sounds great. I will talk to Jeff, and if we could go do that together, that'd be great.
So how do you feel now?
Much better.
You don't really have anywhere to go, right?
Not really.
But when I start trying to explain and everything else, of course, you just want to continue to engage.
Yeah.
But I acknowledge your feelings by saying thank you, but I don't just leave you hanging. I have to say, because. Then comes the I'm sorry. You have to derail the parent first. You have to empathize with them through derailing them by saying thank you because. Then you say I'm sorry. Then you say let's work together. Sound good?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so that's our 4-step process. Thank you, because, I'm sorry, let's work together. Please post any questions or comments in the comments section below. I personally answer all comments. And thank you. Thank you for sharing this video with other educators. Let them see this to help them deal more effectively with complaining parents. And remember that we have a free, complaint-free kids curriculum for grades K through 12 available for download at www.acomplaintfreeworld.org. That's www.acomplaintfreeworld.org. And while you're there, if you want to get teachers, staff, students, and even the entire school taking the 21-day complaint-free challenge, order complaint-free bracelets and use the promo code SCHOOL to save 50%. If you'd like to talk with me about doing a live training at your education conference, district meeting, or personal development day, call toll-free 1-800-264-2472. That's 1-800-264-2472. And you can join my email list by texting Will to 42828. That's my name, Will, to 42828. Follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/Will Bowen. I'm on Twitter @WRBowen. And the question isn't if you're going to have to deal with an angry parent. The question is when. Be prepared, and you can tame a beast. Enjoy today.